Cô livestream. Dạ rồi. Ok. Rồi. Dạ rồi, mình đọc nha cô. Hello everyone. Today we are raising the lesson 3, the triangle of reality, the font size 30 and the speed 12. Now I am on track. I'm ready. I'm on track. I'm ready.
Cô Thảo Minh, cô Thảo Linh, microphone.
Chưa có mở mic.
I'm on track. I'm ready. Let's
I'm on
go.
track. I'm ready. Let's go. Go. Ủa cô, cái này cô không kéo được xuống thêm nữa hả cô? Kéo chưa?
Hết rồi đó.
Đó, cô kệ cô.
The triangle
Yes.
of reality.
The triangle of reality.
The triangle of reality is extremely precious knowledge. Through this knowledge, we can materialize the non-material, informatize, energize, and materialize anything. Even abstract concepts invisible to the human eye can become tangible, allowing people to perceive and touch them. At the same time, the triangle of reality helps us know how to receive and transfer reality simply. A person who knows the triangle of reality no longer go to school, they go to receive reality. If they have material, they reinforce information and energy. If they have energy, they reinforce information and material. So, what is application methods for the triangle of reality? Let's find out. Introduction to the triangle of reality. Anyone among us, no matter what we live in this world, is influenced by three perspectives of views: the moral perspective, the religious belief perspective, and the scientific perspective. Whichever perspective a person learns toward more heavily, their mindset will conform according to that view. However, regardless of the perspective, they all greatly respect the formula of energy, information, material. These are true of the many laws governing human life: the law of cause and conditions and the law of cause and effect. If we sow a good cause and meet favorable conditions, we will reap the desired outcome. So what is the cause here, and how do we sow a good cause? In this section, we will explore the determining cause of human life according to the moral perspective through the knowledge of the triangle of reality. This helps us answer the questions according to the moral perspective: what creates the root of life? Universal source of information, energy, and material. Everything in this world has its own specific information, specific energy, and specific material manifestation. What information is contained within someone determines the source of energy. We draw a triangle with three corners: information, energy, and material. Any entity of this world contains its own source of energy, has its own internal information structure, and has its own material manifestation. For example, gold and lead have different material manifestation. We look at them and sense the difference. When people measure the energy, this energy was contained in gold is different from the energy contained in lead. Studying further, people found that the internal information structure of gold is also different from the internal information structure of lead. Similarly, for humans, the material manifestation of a successful person is completely different from the material manifestation of a failed person. This proves that the energy contained within a successful person is completely different from the energy of the failed person. This is because they contain different information inside. Therefore, what information a person contains inside will determine the source of energy and will determine that material manifestation. We can imagine this theory, and information represents energy, and energy represents material. Everything in the world has its own specific information, specific energy, and specific material manifestation. What does it mean when we see a person manifesting something outwardly? When we see a person manifesting something outwardly, it proves they contain a certain source of energy and a certain information inside for them to manifest in that way. For example, when we observe an angry person, we see that facial expression and external behavior are very different from those of a peaceful person, and it lies in deeper. The angry person's energy manifestation is different from the peaceful person's energy manifestation, which proves the internal information they contain is different. Can material be transformed in one another? If consider the external material of material to be outcome, is the internal information the cause and is the source of energy the condition. The internal cause manifested in information, the external energy is condition, and when enough energy begins to accumulate and condense, it creates the material which is the outcome. But usually we just want to change the outcome. Scientists have proven that all material can be transformed into one another. They have successfully transformed that into gold through it took many years of high cost by changing the internal information structure. When the energy changes, external material changes. People have transformed gold into food, condensed air into meat, and created artificial diamonds that are potentially harder than natural diamonds. We have achieved this with material. Can we adopt the same mindset regarding changing people? Example, a healthy person and a sick person. Do we agree that health and sickness are both manifestations of the outcome? If we proceed to change the internal information of the sick person to the information of the healthy person, then the sick person's energy will change to the healthy person's energy, and the material manifestation will become that of a healthy person. For if we can change the deep-seated information within ourselves, we can change our life. What information is contained within us? If we observe the computer, the information contained inside is the operating system and the software system. The core lies in the operating system. Without it, application cannot be installed. So what is the information contained within us? Scientists have pointed out to us what we know, what we live, and what we understand is the information contained within us. It is simple. When anything is mentioned, how we know about it, how we believe in it, and how we understand it will represent the information within us. The information within us is what we know, what we live, and what we understand. In other words, what we know, what we live, and what we understand will determine our life reality. Thus, this estimate serves reasonable. For instance, regarding marriage, what we believe, understand, and know determines the reality of our marriage. If we examine our marriage reality from the moral perspective, it is simply understand about marriage, and we know, and how we know understand, how we understand marriage determine our marriage reality. Using the triangle of reality to interpret a person's reality. When we see someone has a reality about something, we immediately know how they know about it, how they believe in it, and how they understand it. We do not study the foretelling. We just need the concept of the triangle of reality. Just by interacting and thinking, if they let us know how they know marriage in a certain way, how they believe in marriage in a certain way, and how they understand marriage in a certain way, then we can predict their marriage reality. So if someone currently has an undesirable marriage reality, is it because we know, believe, and understand in an unfavorable direction? What is source concept? Based on the triangle of reality, we interpret everything in life, what we know, what we believe, and what we understand in the language of the triangle of reality is called the source concept. What source concept we hold in our minds will determine our reality and shape it in the right direction. This means that something is mentioned, the source concept we hold about it will represent our reality concerning that thing. A concept must include all three corners: know, believe, understand, to be called a source concept. Source concept about peace and joy. Example, what is a person's source concept about peace and joy? In other words, how they know about peace and joy, how they believe in peace and joy, and how they understand peace and joy determines the reality of peace and joy. Anyone who contests many favorable source concepts within them will have the good reality based on a person's reality with the transcript as follows. A person who currently has an undesirable reality means they are holding unfavorable source concept. A person who has a good reality, a reality in the desired direction, means they are holding favorable source concept. Source concept about finance. So how do we change a reality about something? It is very simple. Whoever wants to change their financial reality, we change what we know about finance, what we believe about finance, and what we understand about finance. In other words, we change the source concept about finance and we change the reality of finance. Whoever wants to change their health reality from this perspective, we only need to change what we know about health and what we believe about health and what we understand about health, and the health reality will change. In other words, we change our source concept about health and we change our health reality. In general, all of our life realities are determined by our source concept. To change reality in a positive direction, we need to change the source concept to a favorable direction. Concepts to master. Therefore, the first three concepts we need to master completely are scientific perspective with the knowledge of the formula for the root of life, religious belief perspective with the knowledge of the structure of human beings, moral perspective with the knowledge of the triangle of reality. Frame of reference. The source concept of the source. Those most foundational, basic, and primal source concepts is called the frame of reference. When the source concept of the source is in a favorable direction, it is called the standard frames of reference. From the standard frames of reference, we will be able to develop favorable source concept. From there, we will change the information within us towards a more positive, more enlightened direction. The concept within us, according to the moral perspective, is the concept within us, and the good concept within us, according to the moral perspective, is the favorable source concept within us. Three standard frames of reference. The three frames of reference we have just explored are three major frames of reference that help us interpret the cause of all matters. First, according to the formula for the root of life, does anyone feel that based on the formula we can interpret everything in life? Second, we cannot interpret it using the formula for the root of life. We use the structure of human beings to explain everything. This explains even when we choose our parents according to the structure of human being. It is based on our total karma that we are born into that family. Therefore, anyone who starts to complain or blame their parents or relatives lack the perspective of religion, belief, and the structure of human being. Because you have that total karma, you must be born into that family. And being born into that family means you must suffer oppression or sorrows from your parents or relatives. Only then does it align with your total karma. Only then does it align with the total karma. If your merit and virtues were, you would have been born into a different family. But because your total karma is that way, you are compelled to be born into that family. As soon as we understand this, we realize the truth immediately. This is a type of enlightening transformation about human life. Longer blame family members because we have to bear our total karma as it is. But after gaining insight, we change our state of awareness to change our total karma. So, to the perspective of the triangle of reality, we know what we believe and what we understand to our reality. There is nothing more wondrous than changing what we know, what we believe, and what we understand to change the reality of our lives. How to apply the three frames of reference to life? What must be done to change a person's reality? To change a person's reality, to change the source concept, change the electromagnetism within the persons by accumulating merits and virtue, and change the mental images, and then their life will change. So, if someone asks us for advice on changing their life, What advice do you give? You must help them understand what's the root of their lives. What is the root of a person's life? The first priority for interpretation is according to the scientific perspective. This is created by the very mental images you hold about a thing. The seed of the image within your mind determines your current life. The second thing is that your energetic vibration frequency determines the material level of how you perceive about life. The third thing is the concept you hold in your mind that determine your life reality. To change mental images, you must accumulate the merit and virtue to change the energetic vibration frequency. Simultaneously, we must study to change the source concept in our minds, and then life will change, preserving and transferring reality with the triangle of reality. When we interact with someone who has a good reality about something we desire, if that person gives us the source concept about that thing, meaning they let it know, how they believe, and how they understand it, then we will acquire some reality as them. And what we want to transfer reality to others, we only need to let others know how we know about it, how we believe in it, and how we understand it for them. In other words, we transfer the source concept to them, and they will have the same reality as us.
Transfer the short concept to them, and they will have the same reality as us.
and they will have the same reality as us. Yes.
That's all. Yes. Oh yeah.
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 15 phút.
Ok.
Dạ
Em
cô Quỳnh.
chào chị Linh, chị Oanh, chị Tiffany, chị Paula.
Hello cả
Rồi
nhà.
có cái hạt mầm dễ thương quá vậy thầy.